Phillips, you take the school from them black kids, level 1, excellent performing school. You take it from them black kids and you give it to us because we want ours. And who was the resistance? Nobody. The people that we elected to fight for us gave $50 million to Navy Pier. Think about what $50 million does to black people. You are now the last on the racial totem pole here in Chicago. You have now been supplanted by the Asians and the Latinos. Correct? So what I say right now is we are living through black people's last stand in Chicago. Last stand. Nobody's asking any questions, and guess what? Nobody even is talking about it. The white folks that are running are like, don't talk about it. Shh. Shh. And so, right now, as I'm screaming, I'm jumping on the radio, I'm yelling, I'm saying, y'all, it's going down right now. And when they bang the gavel, and the numbers come in on election night, you look who's standing up there on the stage. You look at who they have made the promises to. I'll tell you this, and we're going to move. The mayor's race. Black people don't have a lot of money, political money, right? So campaign, you got people power, you got money power, right? One of the things that people probably don't recognize, and I'm not promoting a manual, but as this situation happened with Trayvon and his black, he started pulling a lot of black people in, just trying to put the fires out. So you got a black chief of police, you got a black, you got a site field, you got a black fire guy, you got the water department, there are more black people in high positions of power right now in in Chicago, than probably at any time that we've known. Now you don't see it, but that is all the political capital that is being promised away in exchange for a black mayor. So if we got a mayoral candidate that has no money, the only thing she got is your ass to trade away. I'm serious. So you gotta look at that. Now we are living right now through black people's last stand in Illinois. And the fact that we refuse to hold anybody accountable, anybody. Like you ask the question, and it's like you gotta walk through these neighborhoods. The votes that we have the largest number of black elected officials in the country. The country. When you go out of state, they say, wait a minute. You go to states where it's like 2 black legislators. And they like, look, these things, they tell you what, they don't call it what's in it for the black people, but they got a list of what they accomplished. You talk to our elected officials and you ask them what's in it for the black people. Yeah, black people, right? Yeah. They shouldn't be offended at that question. I'm telling you, I'll be running to the front. What's in it for the black? Oh, I got a list. This is what I did. When you go west of Western, and I'm going to tell you, you look, them white legislators can point to everything they did. You see that? I got you Starbucks, I got you. You ain't got a grocery store. You ain't got a grocery store. So when you talk about the political climate and the political landscape, right now, black people are at the bottom. And if we are going to fix it, we got to stand up. We got to start pushing back. It's not just okay. I'm sorry. I get to preaching. You know I'm a fine pastor. So we'll get to preaching. Go ahead.
Okay. So based on that, who had just 2 to 3 people keep it quick? Questions about what he just said, or do you feel like what he said was on point, or would you challenge him?
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And as someone who considers herself to be educated, I work in corporate America, but sometimes when we go to these events, I don't know the right questions to ask. How do we get to the meat of the conversation when we really don't know exactly what to ask? Because we're not thinking long term like that a lot of times in our community.
Let me tell you this. I would tell you this. I think that's what you're doing here.
Exactly.
Right? You are developing your agenda. And then when you all come out, you will speak in a unified voice. But you got to start communicating. So the first thing is, like, there are going to be collective things that all black folks, y'all know when y'all drive down Stony Island, you drive through certain neighborhoods, there are universal issues. That's one piece. What you are doing here is, as a community, identifying what are your self-interests for the upcoming elections. And it's once you start talking and the neighbors start getting together and we say, okay, here's the 5 things that if you trying to roll with us, if you want us, that's it. And you're relentless in that question. For me, it is, what's in it for the black people? I just say, what's in it for the black people, and give me a list. Now, what you are doing is micro-targeting that, right? By your community, and that's what's happening here. I think that as you all continue to meet, there will be universal questions that when people come to South Shore, you go to what's it, the
Networks.
The neighborhood network, eh? They're gonna be like, hey man, what's up with? And then you're gonna go to network, you're gonna go to the next one over a block over, and they what's up with? Yeah. Right? And then the politician is going to get it. Right now, what they thrive on is your disconnect.
Non-participation.
Your disconnect. All right, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you think. Just
First of all, May, I'm not familiar with you. My name is Oscar Warrett. So, in your presentation just a minute ago, we're not in the first black mayoral campaign. We're in a situation where the black vote is being picked off, and we have a bunch of black folks that want to be mayor based on personality. So we don't have a black political empowerment movement in Chicago as a whole. So the politicians, black or white, are picking off the black vote one by one, block by block, organization by organization, and church by church. So what Val's program here today is to develop an agenda. You're absolutely right about the census and the upcoming map, and how the Asians and the Latinos have pushed us aside. So I agree on that. Our purpose here is to develop the agenda that we do need to put forth in the election cycle, and here's the bottom line. As a result of this whole thing about J.B. Pritzker's discrimination lawsuit from some black folks that were working on him is a sign of the times, as far as I'm concerned. And you're right, I work for water management. I work for a situation where the systemic racism and sexism has been created over a period of time, and you have a black individual that came from another department that doesn't have a lot of knowledge about what is really going on. So that's what Ron did.
So I have one thing. What's your question?
My question is, how in this room do we begin to identify the political movement that we do need to unite the black vote?
I think that's the purpose.
my question.
I think the purpose of this meeting is that. I think fundamentally the purpose of this meeting is to start talking about your collective self-interest. I think it starts with, you got to know the people you're working with. You got to build your army.
You got to know 10 people.
Right.
All right, about 10.
Okay, one more, and then we're going to the next question. Who has a hand?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I do know Brother Mays. He is prophetic, insightful. Listen to him on the radio on WVON morning show. And as you said, well, what are the questions we should pose as we look at the election season? As Mays put, it's a battle over resources. So one question we need to pose: what is your budget? What
question do you have?
What is your, just an observation and then a question, if I may. Hey, what is your budget? What is your staffing of black people? What is the amount of contracting you do with black people? And just an observation briefly, Chicago's not broke. I refer you to a book called by Tom Tresser, Chicago's not broke. If they have 25 million for Ferris wheels, but no money for your schools, they're lying. You go to the Finance Committee agenda and see where millions of dollars are being allocated for apartments or tax incentives. They're lying. They have $25 billion to fund Boeing in contracts. They have $300 million to keep 50 schools open, 1,000 teachers working. So to Brother Mays, you know, I wonder if you could maybe address some of this quantitative issue in terms of this argument that somehow we don't have enough money and to address our needs. How are all these skyscrapers going up with city, county, and state dollars and not in our community?
So I think that it is, again, an issue of advocacy, right? It is, what are you asking for, right? And I think, again, it goes back to this, right? What are your collective self-interests? Have you identified them? So, right, everybody assumes that we know, man, all black people need this. What are the 5 issues that you care about? You don't know. So it begins with this. It may not be that you want skyscrapers built in South Shore. I doubt you do. So it begins with, again, identifying your self-interest. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, what?
He really said what I was going to say, so move on.
So let's go to the next question. Now, this is the thing. We kind of already know some of the statements that are being made. We need to just get to the questions. We have to be out of here at 2:30, okay? So, the next question is, I can skip that one at this point. 2 things that really caught my attention last week. The difference between whites and blacks was whites asked for business contracts and blacks asked for social services. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Black folks have looked at government as from a social perspective, right? I think that we as black folks get it down. Get it. Take it out. Get it down. I think that black folks have benefited from government from a standpoint of we've used a lot of services, right? So when you think of government, you think of your teacher, you think of, your garbage man, you think of government, you think about your social services, your programs, etc. Government legislates wealth,
Yes.
right? So we over-index in social services. Everybody benefits from social services. Everybody. White folks take more food stamps than everybody. But here's what they do. They push all that to the black people.
Exactly.
So all the social services, that goes in the black people column. And then they say, well, we gave you yours. And the white folks say, well, we're going to get the social services. The black folks is already asking for that. So what? But there's $50 more billion over here that we want to get in on. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to give y'all all the social services. We're going to help our people, right? But we're going to blame it on you. We're going to say, oh, cut these programs.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's welfare, and we know that it's more white folks on food stamps. We know it's white folks that's doing the opioid crisis. We know it's more white meth heads that's cracked out. But the story, the image is us. And so then what happens is when they cut child care, it's all the images, it's only black people that's getting cut.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When in actuality, everybody's getting cut. And then you go lay on the tracks for the social services. And when the budget free up, you get what you were supposed to get, or what we all were supposed to get in white boys, be like, I'm going to take this capital bill.
Hello.
And instead of me asking for child care, I'm going to pay for my own damn child care. That's right. Like, see, what we do is we ask the government to give it to us direct instead of saying, let's go get rich. And then we'll build our own. You don't hear Jewish people saying build the Simon Wiesenthal Center. You don't hear them asking to build, you don't hear them asking to save the Holocaust Museum. They got billionaires and millionaires and people that have taken their money and say, guess what? We are going to use this. The biggest department for us is DCFS,
And
right?
DHS.
Huh?
And DHS.
And DHS. You know what the biggest department for white folks is? DCEO.
Right.
So we talk about health and services and human services. They talking about the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. They give away hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars to cities, companies, people that are trying to make money from government, and we asking for to open up the drug rehab center. Now, I'm gonna tell you, build your own damn, go get the $1 billion, and then be responsible for your community and build your own damn drug rehab center, so that when we waiting on the government to fund us, right? The white folks still got their money. They ain't letting they ain't shutting down their clinic. They're not shutting it down because they fund it. We have to really have a paradigm shift when we look at government. Now, we have benefited from government, and government has been our path to middle class success. Where is our path to wealth?
Yes, sir.
Let me give it. And I'm going to stop right now, because medical marijuana and marijuana is about to become legal in this state. And it is the new prohibition. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I had a client before I got in trouble. Before I got in trouble, before I started talking about all this stuff, I used to have all the good clients. Fortune 100, Fortune 10, top ones. Ben Kovler and the Kovler family, some Jewish guys, owned Jim Beam. They sold it for $17.9 billion. Why did they sell it for $17.9 billion? Because they said, we're going into the marijuana business, which is Prohibition 2.0. And right here in this state, while all these fools come walking around here talking about they giving you a social service program, think about what happens if we had equity in a multi-billion-dollar industry right now that's opening up. And as it's being opened up, there is not, they are picking